Every day is a new opportunity to level up. Don't let fear or excuses hold you back. Push forward with relentless commitment. If you're tired of feeling stuck and ready to make a change, you're in the right place. Every single day offers a new opportunity to level up, but it starts with you deciding to take action. No one else can do this for you. You have the power to transform your life, but it takes effort, commitment, and a willingness to push beyond what feels comfortable. It's easy to fall into routines, to accept what comes your way, and to live day to day without fully realizing your potential. But deep down, you know there's more for you. More growth, more success, and more fulfillment. The moment you choose to rise above your current circumstances and set higher standards for yourself, everything changes. It's time to break free from limitations and start demanding more from yourself. Your best self is waiting. Let's take the first step toward it right now. Number 1. Break free from comfort and chase real self-growth. Most people never move past who they are because they stay where it feels safe. They choose comfort over progress. They choose familiar routines over challenge. But comfort does not offer growth. It offers a slow decline. The longer you stay where nothing is demanded of you, the more you lose your edge. You don't feel it at first, but over time you stop expecting more from yourself. You stop believing you can change. That's when life begins to feel stuck. You cannot grow and stay the same. The version of you that is meant to do more, become more, live more, that version is not found in your comfort zone. It's found in the effort. It's found in the hard decisions. It's found when you do what's necessary instead of what's easy. Growth lives in the tension between who you are and who you could be. And the only way to cross that gap is to challenge yourself deliberately. You will not drift into self-growth. You will not accidentally wake up stronger. You have to chase it with focus, with urgency, with full responsibility. Growth doesn't knock on your door. You have to get up and run after it. That means doing things that make you feel uncomfortable on purpose. That means saying no to what you've always allowed. That means setting standards that stretch you every day. Every time you step into discomfort, you are proving something to yourself. You're proving that you can rise above the voice that wants you to stay the same. You're proving that you are willing to change even when it's hard. That kind of effort builds trust with yourself. And that's where self-growth starts. Not with motivation, but with trust. When you know you will do what you said you would do, even when it's difficult, you start to see what you're capable of. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is that they're waiting for the right moment. But growth doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act. If you keep waiting for things to feel right, you'll be waiting your whole life. The truth is, you won't feel ready. You won't feel confident. And that's okay. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You just need to begin. Confidence comes later. It comes from action. It comes from doing the thing you once thought you couldn't. There's a real cost to staying comfortable. You might not see it in a day, but over months and years it adds up. You start to accept less energy, less discipline, less clarity, and over time your standards begin to drop without you realizing. But the moment you decide to rise again, to aim higher, to demand more from yourself, you start to wake up. You start to see your potential again. That shift alone can bring life back to your days. Don't look at the top of the mountain and get overwhelmed. You don't need to fix everything in one day. You just need to do the next hard thing. You need to move with purpose. Each step matters. Each decision to grow instead of remain the same compounds. If you focus on progress instead of perfection, you'll start to build momentum. And momentum is powerful. It's what separates people who change from people who just talk about change. Self-growth is not about proving something to others. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about knowing that you're doing the work, even when nobody sees it. That quiet confidence that comes from effort is more powerful than any praise, because you know what it took to get there. You know how many days you had to push through resistance, and that sense of progress builds inner strength that no one can give you and no one can take away. There will be days you want to go back to your old ways. Days when comfort feels tempting. Days when your excuses sound reasonable. But those are the exact moments where growth is being offered to you. You either rise or repeat, you either move or stay still. And every time you choose to move forward, no matter how small the step, you're getting stronger. Don't underestimate the power of discipline in this journey. People often think growth is about feeling inspired. But the truth is, it's about showing up when you're not. It's about doing what needs to be done when it's the last thing you feel like doing. That consistency will carry you farther than any burst of motivation ever could. Make time for silence. Make space to check in with yourself. Ask where you're holding back. Ask where you're coasting. If you're honest, you'll know. You'll feel it. That tension inside you. That's your growth calling. Not to make you feel guilty, but to remind you of who you could be. Don't silence it. Don't avoid it. Listen to it. Let it guide you forward. Surround yourself with people who don't let you shrink. Be around those who challenge you to think deeper. Aim higher. Act better. Growth is personal. Yes, but it thrives in the right environment. You can't keep growing if you're surrounded by people who keep choosing easy. Elevate your environment. Choose people who remind you of the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Your habits matter more than your hopes. It's easy to say you want to grow, but what are you doing every day to support that? Are you reading what stretches your thinking? Are you moving your body? Are you keeping your promises? Are you using your time well? If not, then you're not chasing growth. You're just admiring it from a distance. Growth demands action. It demands follow-through. If you want to build a life you're proud of, you have to outgrow the one that made you comfortable. That takes intention. That takes effort. But most importantly, it takes daily choices. You don't change in one big moment. You change in small, repeated ones. Day after day, you choose better. You choose stronger. You choose purpose over ease. And slowly you become the person you've always wanted to be. Don't be afraid of starting over. Don't be afraid of being a beginner. Every level of growth starts with discomfort. Every breakthrough starts with humility. The moment you accept that the next level requires more from you is the moment you begin to rise. Not because you're perfect, not because you have it all figured out, but because you're willing. So be willing. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to stretch your limits. Be willing to chase the version of you that only shows up when you're fully committed. You don't have to do it all today, but you do have to start today, and tomorrow, and the day after that. You keep going. You keep showing up. You keep growing. The reward isn't just what you achieve. It's who you become along the way. More focused, more responsible, more resilient. That's the real prize. That's the power of breaking free from comfort and chasing real self-growth. It's not about changing the world, it's about changing yourself so you can show up in the world with clarity, strength, and purpose. And that change starts with one choice. One decision to rise above. Make it today. Number 2. Wake up early and take charge of your life. Most people live their days in reaction. They wake up late, rush through the morning, and spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. They live under pressure instead of on purpose. They're pulled by distractions, driven by obligations, and ruled by the clock. And before they realize it, the day is over, and nothing truly meaningful got done. This cycle repeats itself, day after day, until they wake up years later and wonder why life feels out of control. If you want to take charge of your life, you need to start at the root, and that root is your morning. Because how you begin your day determines how you live it. If you roll out of bed in a panic, if you start your day in chaos, you carry that energy with you. But if you wake up early, if you wake up with purpose, something powerful happens. You create space. You create intention. You lead your day instead of following it. Waking up early is not about being a morning person. It's about taking control. It's about starting your day before the world makes demands of you. When you rise before the noise, you create a window of clarity. No one is calling you. No one is asking for your time. It's just you. And in that quiet hour, you have the opportunity to focus, to plan, to build yourself. That kind of time is not a luxury. It's a necessity if you want to grow. When you give yourself a head start, you stop living like everything is urgent. You become proactive instead of reactive. You're not rushing out the door anymore. You're not skipping your priorities. You're not showing up to your day empty. You're showing up with clarity, with direction, with energy that you built through discipline, and that changes everything. The discipline of waking up early is not just about time, it's about self-respect. It's about proving to yourself that your goals matter enough to get out of bed for. It's about reminding yourself that you're in control of your choices. You're not a victim of the alarm clock. You're not a slave to tired habits. You decide how your life unfolds. And that decision starts when the alarm goes off. You don't need to wake up 3 hours before sunrise. You don't need to run 10 miles or drink green juice. You just need to get up earlier than you usually do and use that time for something that builds you, something that strengthens your focus, something that reminds you that your life is worth showing up for. That small shift builds consistency, and consistency builds confidence. When you build structure into your mornings, you start to feel capable again. You begin to take yourself seriously. You're not just surviving the day anymore, you're setting the tone. You've already done something hard before most people open their eyes. That quiet victory gives you momentum, and that momentum compounds. It spills into how you speak, how you think, how you respond to challenges. Most people never feel in control because they never give themselves time to think. Their days are packed from the moment they wake up, but if you want to lead your life, you need room to reflect. You need time to ask yourself, what matters today? Not what's urgent, not what others expect, but what matters to you. That kind of awareness only comes from stillness, and stillness only comes when you carve it out with intention. Your mornings are the foundation of your day. If that foundation is weak, the rest will fall apart when pressure shows up. But when your morning is strong, you can handle more. You can think clearly. You can lead your thoughts instead of being led by emotion. That's what waking up early gives you. Not perfection, but preparation. Start small. You don't need to flip your schedule upside down. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Don't scroll. Don't rush. Get up and do one thing that matters. Read a page. Write down your goals. Move your body. Practice silence. Start with something real. Start with something that speaks to your future. The power is not in the hour, it's in what you do with it. There will be days when the bed feels too warm and your motivation feels too weak. That's normal. That's when you lean on your commitment. Because success is not built on feelings, it's built on follow-through. And every time you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who breaks promises to yourself. And that new identity begins to shape your entire life. Taking charge of your life isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, repeated actions done when no one's watching. That's where self-leadership begins. Not in what you say you'll do, but in what you actually do when it's hard. Waking up early is a symbol of that leadership. It's not easy. It's not glamorous. But it is powerful. Over time, those early hours begin to feel like home. You start to crave that quiet space. You start to realize how valuable that time is. Because that time is when you reconnect with yourself. You remind yourself of your goals, your values, your direction. It becomes harder to live passively. It becomes easier to stay focused. Even when life gets noisy, you begin to see results. Not because the morning is magical, but because you used it wisely. You've done the work. You've shown yourself discipline. And discipline always pays back. Not in loud ways, but in strong ones. You think more clearly. You make better decisions. You walk into your day with confidence instead of hesitation. And when the world starts to test you, and it always will, you've already won something. You've already done something for yourself. That kind of ownership becomes a shield, a quiet strength, a reminder that you're not just drifting anymore. You're steering. You're choosing. You're leading. You don't have to overhaul your life to begin. You just have to start waking up early. Even if it's hard. Even if it feels unnatural. Do it because it builds discipline. Do it because it sharpens your mind. Do it because it gives you a moment to get centered before the world spins again. Most of all, do it because your future depends on what you do today. And today begins with how you start your morning. Every successful change starts with one decision. One moment when you say, I want more from my life than this. That moment can be today, not because today is special, but because today is the only day you can act on. So when that alarm goes off tomorrow, remember this, you're not just waking up early, you're waking up to your life, to your strength, to your power, and you're choosing to live it on your terms. That's how you take charge. That's how you rise. Number 3, face your fears and grow through every struggle. Fear is the reason most people never become who they're meant to be. Not because they don't have the potential, not because they don't have the resources, but because they stop themselves before life even tests them. Fear convinces people to stay small. It convinces them to back away from opportunity. It keeps them stuck in the same cycle, thinking the risk is too big or the failure is too painful. But what they don't realize is that avoiding fear only feeds it. The only way to shrink fear is to face it. That's where real growth begins. Not when life is easy, not when everything feels in control, but when you confront the thing you've been avoiding, when you stand in front of what makes you uncomfortable and choose to move anyway. That moment is where you start to transform. Most people think they need to feel fearless to take action, but that's not true. Courage doesn't mean the fear disappears. It means you move through it. It means you do the thing even while your hands shake and your heart races. Growth doesn't come from safety. It comes from those moments when you step into the unknown and trust that you'll find your way through it. Struggles are not punishments. They are teachers. Every challenge carries a lesson. Every painful moment carries a chance to build something in you. But you only learn when you lean into it. If you run from every difficult situation, you miss the chance to grow stronger. You miss the chance to stretch your limits. You miss the opportunity to become wiser, sharper, and more resilient. When fear shows up, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're at the edge of something important. That edge is where people either step forward or step back. And that single decision creates 2 different lives. One filled with regret, the other filled with growth. The question is, who do you want to become? Do you want to be someone who shrinks when things get hard? Or do you want to be someone who shows up, no matter what? Facing fear doesn't mean doing reckless things. It means doing the necessary things that you've been putting off. It means having the hard conversation. It means starting the project even when you feel unqualified. It means leaving the comfort of the familiar to chase something more meaningful. That's not recklessness. That's responsibility. That's ownership. Struggle has a way of revealing the truth. When things fall apart, when plans don't work, when everything feels heavy, that's when you discover your character. That's when you learn what you're really made of. You don't grow from success alone. You grow from the tension, from the resistance, from the decision to keep going when you want to quit. Fear is loud. It tells you you're not enough. It tells you you'll fail. It tells you that others are better. But the voice of truth is quiet. It's the voice that says try anyway. It's the voice that says you've handled worse before. It's the voice that says you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest. You just need to be brave. You don't need to face every fear all at once. Start with one action that you've been avoiding, one challenge that's been lingering in your mind. Face it, do something about it. And when you do, you'll realize that most of the fear was in your head. The power it had over you begins to fade, and you start to see how much more you're capable of. Growth through struggle isn't about looking strong. It's about staying committed. It's about not giving up when life tests you. There will be days that are painful, days that feel unfair, days that leave you tired. But those are the days that shape you. Not because they're easy, but because you kept going when it would have been easier to stop. When you go through something hard, and you come out the other side, you gain something no book or course can teach you. You gain grit. You gain perspective. You gain inner strength. That kind of growth doesn't show up overnight. But one day you'll look back and see that the struggle didn't break you. It built you. You don't have to pretend to be fearless. You just have to stop letting fear control your choices. There's a big difference between feeling afraid and being owned by it. When fear becomes your compass, you start living a smaller life. But when courage becomes your habit, you begin expanding. You begin stepping into places you never thought you could go. You will fail sometimes. You will make mistakes. You will doubt yourself. But none of that disqualifies you. In fact, that's part of the journey. You learn more from falling than you do from staying still. And every time you rise, you're becoming someone who is harder to stop. That's what matters. Not how often you struggle, but how often you decide to keep moving. Fear will always try to negotiate with you. It will offer you comfort in exchange for your dreams. It will promise you safety if you stay still. But deep down you know the truth. You weren't made to live safe. You were made to rise. You were made to grow. And growth is not passive. It demands effort. It demands courage. It demands action in the face of uncertainty. Stop waiting for everything to feel right. Stop telling yourself you'll do it when you feel ready. That day doesn't come. What comes is a choice. A decision to stop running. A decision to face what scares you. And show yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. That decision creates a new future. A future led by purpose, not fear. If you keep avoiding struggle, you keep avoiding strength. If you keep avoiding fear, you keep avoiding freedom. That's the price of avoidance. But when you face it, when you decide to go through it, you begin to build a life you're proud of. One that's not defined by fear but by growth. One that's not driven by comfort, but by vision. You can either keep living under the weight of what-ifs, or you can take the risk and grow through it. The fear will still be there. The doubt might still whisper. But so will your will. So will your fire. So will your boldness. Will your fire. So will your decision to live with courage. That is what makes the difference between those who stay stuck and those who level up. Every fear you face weakens the grip of hesitation. Every struggle you go through creates a deeper version of you. Not just someone who survives, but someone who evolves. Someone who becomes more focused, more grounded, more resilient. And the only way to get there is by stepping forward, while fear tells you to stay back. So face the fear. Step into the struggle. And know this: you are growing every time you do. You're not the same person you were yesterday. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming wiser. You're becoming more capable of leading your life in the direction you want. And it all starts with the courage to face what's in front of you and grow through it. Number 4, push harder when your mind wants to quit. The moment your mind says enough, that's when the real battle begins. Not outside you, but inside. That's the turning point where most people back down. When the voice of doubt gets louder than the voice of reason. It tells you to slow down, to take it easy, to quit because you've done enough. But what your mind doesn't always understand is that pushing through that voice, right there is where everything starts to change. Growth doesn't come when you feel comfortable. It comes when you feel pressure, when your body is tired, your emotions are heavy, and your will is being tested. That's where strength is built. Not from convenience, but from the choice to continue when every part of you is asking to stop. There will be moments when you're halfway through something and you hear that voice in your head. Why keep going? Just stop here. It feels logical. It feels like protecting yourself. But that voice is not your friend. It's your comfort zone trying to keep control. And if you listen to it every time it speaks, you stay in the same place, same results, same limits, same life. You were not built to stop at halfway. You were built to finish. You were built to push past the doubt and find out what's on the other side. But you only discover that when you choose to dig deeper. It doesn't matter how tired you are. It matters how committed you are. Because the mind quits long before the body does. Your strength hasn't run out. Your belief has. And belief is something you can rebuild. Pushing harder isn't about being reckless or ignoring real pain. It's about knowing the difference between discomfort and danger. Most of the time, what you feel is just resistance. And resistance is a sign that you're doing something worthwhile, something that requires effort, something that demands more from you. That's not a bad thing. That's the point. Think back to the times you pushed past your limits, the times you finished even when you didn't think you could. How did you feel after? Exhausted? Yes, but also alive. Proud. Clear. Because those are the moments when you realize you're capable of more than you thought. And the only way to have more of those moments is to push through the ones that feel like walls. Discipline isn't built when things go smoothly. It's built when you keep moving, even when your mind gives you every excuse to stop. That's how you become consistent. That's how you become unstoppable. Not because you don't feel like quitting, but because you've trained yourself not to listen to that voice anymore. Every time you override that mental urge to give in, you create new wiring in your brain. You train your mind to follow your goals, not your feelings. That's where transformation begins. That's how you shift from being controlled by your moods to being led by your mission. Pushing harder doesn't mean forcing yourself into burnout. It means refusing to let laziness or doubt write your story. It means deciding that today's temporary discomfort is worth tomorrow's progress. Because quitting doesn't just stop the work, it stops the momentum. And without momentum, you start to lose direction. That's how people drift. That's how people settle. But you don't have to. You can rise above the feeling, you can take another step. You can squeeze out another effort, another rep, another focused hour. And when you do, you start to feel that internal shift. That sense of power that comes not from talent, but from will. Not from ease, but from effort. Look, everyone feels like giving up sometimes. Everyone reaches a point where they want to walk away. But champions are not people who never feel weak. They're people who decide to keep going anyway. They refuse to let temporary fatigue become a permanent excuse. And that decision makes all the difference. You can build that same mental toughness. You can train yourself to go one more round, to sit one more hour in focused work, to run one more mile. And when you do, your confidence grows. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know you can trust yourself to finish what you started. That kind of self-trust is rare, but it's earned. You don't get it from motivational videos. You get it from action, from showing up when it's inconvenient, from staying the course when the novelty has worn off, from choosing effort when excuses sound convincing. Every excuse you give yourself sounds reasonable in the moment, but most of them are lies dressed as logic. You don't need more rest. You need more resolve. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. You don't need more motivation. You need more action. There is a version of you that doesn't quit when it's hard. That doesn't break down every time life gets uncomfortable. That version of you is built through effort, not the kind that comes when you feel inspired, but the kind that shows up even when you don't. The kind that fights back when the mind says it's too hard. And once you break through that mental barrier once, it gets easier the next time, because you've tasted what it feels like to win that internal war. You know the power that comes from pushing just a little more, and that memory becomes your fuel. Real growth comes from repetition, from choosing to push every single time your mind tells you to stop. That's how discipline is born. That's how endurance is built. Not from comfort, but from struggle. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. But you do have to be the one who stays in the fight, who keeps showing up, who keeps choosing to push harder when everything inside says slow down, because on the other side of that choice is growth. It's strength. It's clarity. It's a life that's no longer limited by what's easy or familiar. It's a life built on progress, not permission, built on commitment, not convenience. Your mind will always look for the easy way out, but that's not where fulfillment lives. Fulfillment lives in the extra push, in the sacrifice, in the decision to be better, even when no one's watching. And the good news is, that decision is always available. Every time you feel like quitting, you have a chance to rise, to build your character, to prove to yourself that you're stronger than the struggle. So the next time your mind starts whispering that you've had enough, remember this: that's not the end. That's the start of something meaningful. That's your moment to go further, to give more, to become more, push harder, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when no one believes in you. Especially then, because that's when it counts. That's when it shapes you. And one day you'll look back and realize it was never about how you felt.
It was about what you decided to do in the moments that tested you most. That's how you rise. That's how you level up.
Number 5. Choose discipline daily and demand more from yourself. Discipline is not something that arrives at your door one morning. It doesn't show up as a gift. It's something you choose, and the truth is, it's something you have to choose every single day. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, but especially on the days when you don't want to, because that's when it matters most. That's when it defines who you are. Every day you wake up with a choice. You either follow the same habits that keep you where you are, or you push yourself to do something that gets you closer to who you want to become. That decision doesn't come with fanfare. It's quiet. It's personal. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful, because over time, those choices compound. The problem is, most people wait for motivation. They wait to feel inspired before they act, but discipline doesn't rely on feelings. Discipline lives in action. It's doing the work even when your mind is looking for a way out. It's showing up when nobody's watching. It's keeping your word to yourself, even when there's no reward in sight. That is the path to self-respect. You don't become strong by accident. You don't build a better life by hoping. You create it through decisions, deliberate, clear, sometimes uncomfortable decisions. And at the heart of it is discipline, the kind that doesn't ask for permission, the kind that wakes you up early, keeps you focused, and makes you keep promises that nobody else knows about. Choosing discipline is choosing responsibility. It's saying, I am in control of my time, my energy, my growth. It's rejecting the easy route and picking the one that stretches you. That's where growth happens, not in ease, but in effort. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. When you demand more from yourself, you begin to raise your own standards. You stop settling. You stop blaming. You stop waiting. You start owning your choices, your habits, your attitude. And with that, your entire life begins to shift. Not because of one massive change, but because of small decisions made every day with intention and clarity. This kind of life doesn't come from chasing quick wins. It comes from doing the same boring, uncomfortable, necessary things every day. Waking up early, sticking to your plan, finishing what you started. That's the work, and that's where most people fall off. Because it's not exciting. But what's not exciting now becomes deeply rewarding later. That's the trade-off. There will be days when you won't feel like it, when your mind will tell you to relax, when distractions will feel more appealing than focus. And that's the exact moment you must decide to lead yourself. Discipline isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling yourself. About making a decision and honoring it, even when it gets hard. If you want change, you must demand it from yourself. No one is going to hand you excellence. No one is going to build your dream for you. No one is going to wake up and care more about your goals than you. You have to want it enough to do something about it every single day. Wanting is not enough. Effort is the bridge. There's power in setting standards for yourself that others don't understand. When you choose to operate with discipline, you separate yourself from the crowd. You become someone people can count on. Someone who leads by example. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you've decided to stop waiting and start building. Ask yourself this: what kind of person do I want to be remembered as? Someone who talks about what they could have done, or someone who followed through no matter what? That reputation starts with your daily habits, your daily thoughts, your daily effort. Discipline builds identity. People often confuse discipline with punishment, but it's the opposite. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from being pulled in every direction by the world around you. When you choose discipline, you start building a life on your terms. Not by chance, not by emotion, but by design. You must demand more from yourself, not because you aren't enough, but because you are meant for more. Because there's another level in you that doesn't get reached by coasting. It takes grit, it takes effort, and it takes the maturity to delay comfort for something greater. You can't wait for the perfect moment. You make the moment right by acting with discipline.
And every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. You begin to believe that your words matter, that your time matters, that your goals are worth working for even when nobody is clapping. That's what makes you powerful. Not your background, not your circumstances, but your decision to rise above them, to show up with purpose, to lead yourself through the difficult moments. That's how leaders are built, not in noise but in quiet discipline behind the scenes. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things consistently. That's how success is shaped. One decision at a time, one disciplined action after another, small wins, daily focus, steady progress. That's the formula. The truth is, no one will ever care about your future more than you. That's why you have to care enough to take full ownership. When it gets tough, you don't look for someone to rescue you. You become the kind of person who saves themselves. That comes from discipline, from refusing to make excuses, from rising each time you fall. There's a version of you that is clearer, stronger, sharper, and that version is waiting on the other side of your effort. You don't find that version by accident. You earn it through discipline, through structure, through focus, through doing the hard things day in and day out. It's not just about working harder. It's about working with intention, with standards, with commitment. You don't rise by doing the minimum. You rise by demanding more from yourself than anyone else expects of you. And when you live like that, not once, not occasionally, but daily, you begin to separate. You begin to elevate. You begin to walk into the kind of life most people only talk about, because you did the work, you made the sacrifices, you chose discipline when it wasn't easy. So choose it again today. Choose to be consistent when others are comfortable. Choose to move forward when others are waiting. Choose to put in the effort when no one is watching. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because it shapes who you are. Discipline is not a one-time act. It's a decision you renew each morning. It's the quiet force that builds strong people and meaningful lives. And it's in your hands right now. Choose it. Demand more from yourself. And don't settle for anything less than the best you can become.
Number 6. Cut out excuses and own your every choice. Every day, people make decisions. Some decisions move them forward. Some hold them back. But one thing is certain, nothing changes until you take full responsibility for your choices. If you want to level up your life, the first step is simple, but not easy. Cut out the excuses. Stop giving your power away to reasons, to blame, to delays. Excuses are the invisible walls that keep you stuck. They sound harmless, but they steal your time, your energy, and your potential. Excuses give you a way out, but they never give you a way up. Every time you make an excuse, you avoid the truth. And without truth, there's no growth. People say they're too tired, too busy, too old, too young, too unprepared. But the truth is, those are all shields. Shields that protect your comfort, but stop your progress. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you take your life back. You start to see the results you've been talking about. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You started owning your actions. You began asking the right questions. Not why is this happening to me, but what can I do about it? Owning your choices means you stop pointing fingers. It means you stop waiting for someone to fix things. It means you no longer let circumstances decide how far you'll go. The most powerful people are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who face it head on and learn from it. They accept that their life is a result of their choices, and that gives them control. When you take ownership, you stop wasting time justifying poor habits. You stop giving yourself a pass for things that aren't helping you grow. You become brutally honest with yourself. And that honesty is what sets you free, because now you can actually change something. You're not stuck in a story. You're standing in reality, and reality is where progress begins. Excuses are comfortable. Responsibility is not, but comfort never builds anything worth having. If you want real change, you must be willing to feel the weight of your own decisions. That's how you get stronger. That's how you become clear. That's how you finally make moves that lead somewhere new.
Some people will spend their entire lives explaining why they didn't do more. They'll have long stories full of reasons, but no real results. And then there are the few who accept full control of their lives. They stop explaining. They start executing. They don't blame. They build. They know that even when something isn't their fault, it's still their responsibility to respond with power. You can either explain your situation, or you can improve it. But you can't do both at the same time. The energy you spend justifying your lack of action could be used to take one more step forward. It's easy to say, I didn't have time. It's harder to admit, I didn't make it a priority. One makes you a victim. The other makes you a leader. And this world needs more leaders. People who lead their own lives, their own habits, their own emotions. People who choose not to wait for perfect conditions. Owning your choices means accepting the consequences. Not every choice will lead to success. Sometimes you'll mess up. Sometimes you'll make the wrong call. But if it was your call, you'll learn something. You'll adjust. You'll improve. That's how progress works. But if you're always pointing outside yourself, you miss that lesson. Excuses take the control out of your hands. Ownership puts it right back where it belongs. You can choose how you react. You can choose how you spend your time. You can choose your attitude. You can choose your standards. And every one of those choices is shaping your life, whether you see it or not. There's power in knowing your life is built by you. That no matter what happens, you still get a say. You still get to respond with strength. You still get to build. That mindset alone puts you ahead of most people. Because most people are waiting for someone to push them. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for luck. But you're not here to wait. You're here to work. Work on your mindset. Work on your health. Work on your goals. Work on your future. And that work starts the second you stop making space for excuses. There will always be a reason not to do the hard thing. There will always be a reason to push it off. But people who rise ignore the reason and focus on the result. Every time you take the easy path, you reinforce the idea that you're not in control. But every time you make a strong decision, no matter how small, you remind yourself that your future is yours. That your life responds to your choices, not your complaints. When you cut out excuses, something amazing happens. You start seeing opportunities. You stop saying I can't, and start asking how can I? You begin to find time, energy, and motivation that was buried under self-doubt and delay. You stop being the person who reacts and become the person who decides. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest. You will slip. You will fall short. But if you own it, you can fix it. You can rebuild. That's real growth. That's maturity. That's power. Make a decision today to take full control of your time, of your habits, of your thoughts. Cut out the noise. Cut out the stories. Focus on what you can do. Not what went wrong. Not who did what, but what you can do right now. That's how change begins. And as you stay on that path, you'll start to notice something. You'll start to feel different, more clear, more responsible, more confident. Because deep down we all know when we're making excuses, and we all know when we're owning it. You can't fake that, but you can build it. Ownership means you stop waiting for life to give you permission. You give it to yourself. You take the next step. You do the work. You take the hit if needed. And then you go again. You don't flinch. You don't fold. Because you've made a promise to yourself. And excuses are not part of the deal. So decide today. No more delays. No more maybe later. No more stories about what held you back. You don't need to explain your past. You just need to own your present. Because that's what creates your future. Take charge. Be honest. Cut out the excuses. Own every choice you make. That's how you level up. That's how you build a life you're proud to live.
Number 7. Train your focus and eliminate useless distractions now. The ability to focus is not just a skill. It's a necessity. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. They're constantly pulling at our attention. Social media, messages, notifications, they all scream for our time. But here's the truth. The people who succeed, the people who rise above the noise, are the ones who train their focus. They understand that focus is the difference between moving forward and staying stuck. They know that eliminating distractions isn't just about reducing noise. It's about creating space for greatness. Distractions are silent thieves. They steal your time, your energy, and your potential without you even realizing it. Each time you get sidetracked, it's not just a few minutes of lost productivity. It's a few minutes taken from your dreams, your goals, your future. You can't afford to let distractions rule your life anymore. The distractions that seem small right now are the ones that add up over time, creating a pattern of wasted potential. Training your focus means intentionally choosing where you direct your attention. It's about making a conscious decision to block out what isn't helping you grow, and instead putting everything you have into what matters most. It's not about multitasking or doing everything at once. It's about doing one thing, the right thing, with all of your energy and attention. It's about shutting out the noise and getting to work on what truly matters. The first step in eliminating distractions is recognizing them. You might think you're good at staying focused, but how often do you find yourself scrolling through social media when you should be working? How often do you check your phone for no reason, just because it's there? How often do you get distracted by random thoughts or outside events? Distractions are everywhere, and they come in many forms, but until you identify them, you can't get rid of them. Once you've identified the distractions, it's time to take action. Start by eliminating or reducing the things that pull you away from your focus. Put your phone on airplane mode when you're working. Close tabs on your computer that aren't related to what you're doing. If you're working on something important, make sure that nothing else gets in the way. That means saying no to interruptions, saying no to things that don't contribute to your goals, and creating an environment that supports deep, undistracted work. But it's not just about removing distractions. It's also about strengthening your ability to focus. Just like any muscle, focus requires training. If you want to build a strong focus, you have to practice. This means setting aside time each day to work without distractions. Whether it's a few hours or just 30 minutes, you need to create periods of time where you're 100% dedicated to a single task. This is where real progress happens. You might be surprised at how much you can accomplish when you commit to focused work. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter by eliminating distractions and putting all your energy into one thing at a time. Training your focus also means learning to be present. When you focus on something, give it your full attention. Don't split your energy between multiple things. When you're working on your goals, focus on your goals. When you're spending time with loved ones, focus on them. When you're learning, focus on learning. Every moment that you can be fully present and engaged will build your focus over time. Every time you choose to be present, you're training your mind to stay on track, and the more you practice, the stronger your focus will become. Another key element of training your focus is self-discipline. Focus is a muscle that can be developed with practice, but self-discipline is what keeps it going. Self-discipline is the ability to keep your attention on what matters, even when you don't feel like it. It's about staying the course, even when distractions tempt you. It's about pushing through the discomfort of staying focused when everything around you is screaming for your attention, and the only way to strengthen your self-discipline is through consistent effort. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you build that muscle. A big part of building your focus is setting clear priorities. If you don't know what matters most to you, then how can you focus on it? When your goals are clear, your focus becomes sharper. When you know what you're working toward, you know where to direct your energy. This makes it easier to eliminate distractions. The more aligned your actions are with your goals, the less you'll be tempted by things that don't serve your purpose. It's also important to create a work environment that supports your focus. Your surroundings play a significant role in how well you can concentrate. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind. If you want to train your focus, start by cleaning up your environment. Get rid of things that distract you. Organize your workspace. Create a space that encourages concentration and productivity. When your surroundings are clean and organized, your mind can focus better. And don't forget to give yourself breaks. Training your focus doesn't mean working non-stop without rest.
In fact, working without breaks can actually reduce your productivity. It's essential to give your brain time to recharge. Take short breaks during long periods of focus to refresh your mind. Go for a walk, stretch, or just step away from your work for a moment. This will help you maintain your focus over longer periods and keep you from burning out. Ultimately, the ability to focus is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. The difference is not talent or luck, it's focus. Focus is what allows you to overcome obstacles. Focus is what drives you forward when the road gets tough. And focus is what lets you see results. The more you train your focus, the more you will see progress. You'll get more done, achieve more, and move closer to your goals with every focused effort. Training your focus is not something that happens overnight. It's a process that takes time. But every time you choose focus over distraction, you're one step closer to mastering it. Every time you eliminate a distraction, you strengthen your ability to focus on what matters. And that's how you'll make real progress. It's how you'll reach your goals, and it's how you'll transform your life. Distractions are never going away. They'll always be there trying to pull you off course. But you don't have to let them win. When you train your focus, you take control of your life. You choose where to direct your attention. You choose what matters. And that's how you create a life of purpose and success. So start today. Train your focus, eliminate the distractions, and watch your life begin to change.
Number 8, take control of time and use it with purpose. Time is the most precious resource you have. It's the one thing you can never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's why how you choose to spend your time will determine everything about your life. If you're waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, or the ideal circumstances to start using your time wisely, you're already behind. The key to achieving anything you want in life is taking control of your time and using it with purpose. The world doesn't slow down for you. The clock keeps ticking, whether you're ready or not. Most people live their lives as if they have all the time in the world, but the truth is, time is finite. You don't have time to waste. You don't have time to put off your goals or procrastinate on your dreams. Every minute you let slip away is a minute you'll never get back. So how do you take control of your time? How do you stop letting the distractions of everyday life steal your most valuable resource? It all starts with awareness. You need to become aware of how you spend your time. Most people spend their days running on autopilot, mindlessly moving from one task to the next without thinking about whether that task is really aligned with their goals. This is where it all starts to slip. If you want to take control of your time, you have to first take a step back and evaluate how you're using it. Start tracking your time. What do you spend the most time on? Is it productive? Is it helping you move closer to where you want to be? Or are you just filling your days with distractions, with things that don't matter, things that don't contribute to your growth or success? Once you identify where your time is going, it's time to make changes. You need to start eliminating the things that don't serve your purpose. If you're spending hours scrolling through social media or watching TV, you're not using your time in a way that's going to move you forward. It's time to take a hard look at your habits and cut out the ones that don't support your goals. This might be uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary if you want to take control of your time. Every minute you spend on something that doesn't move you closer to your purpose is a minute you'll never get back. Next, you need to start planning your time with intention. Time doesn't just happen. It's something you have to actively manage. This means you need to create a daily schedule that prioritizes the things that are most important to you. Every morning, take a few minutes to plan your day. What are your top priorities? What tasks will move you closer to your goals? Put those first. Don't let your day be dictated by other people's needs or demands. Set clear, focused intentions for how you want to spend your time, and then make sure that your actions align with those intentions. It's easy to get distracted by the things that seem pressing in the moment, but urgency is often a trap. It can trick you into thinking you're being productive, when in reality you're just being busy. Taking control of your time means recognizing that not everything that feels urgent is actually important. When you let urgency control your day, you allow other people's priorities to take over.
You allow the small, noisy distractions to pull you off course. If you want to use your time with purpose, you need to be ruthless about what gets your attention. Prioritize what matters most, and let everything else go. Another key part of taking control of your time is learning to say no. This is where many people get stuck. They say yes to everything, thinking that they have to please everyone or take on every opportunity that comes their way. But when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Every time you agree to a new task, you're taking time away from your own goals. You're diverting your focus away from what you want to accomplish. Saying no is one of the most powerful tools you can use to take control of your time. You have to be intentional about what you say yes to, and make sure that every commitment aligns with your values and your goals. It's also important to understand the concept of time blocking. Time blocking is a technique where you schedule specific blocks of time for specific tasks. Instead of just having a vague to-do list, you assign a set amount of time to each task. This helps you stay focused and prevents you from wasting time. It also creates a sense of urgency, which can help you work more efficiently. Time blocking allows you to take control of your day and ensures that you're dedicating time to the things that matter most. When you take control of your time, you also take control of your energy. How you spend your time affects your energy levels. If you're constantly reacting to other people's demands, if you're running around putting out fires all day, you'll feel drained. But when you take control of your time, when you prioritize what matters most, you free up mental and emotional energy. You create space for focused work, for rest, and for the things that bring you joy. You give yourself the time and energy to do what truly matters. Time is also a reflection of your values. How you spend your time tells you what you truly care about. If you're spending more time watching TV than working on your goals, that's a signal that something needs to change. If you're constantly putting your dreams on the back burner for the sake of other people's demands, you're not living according to your values. To take control of your time is to align your time with your deepest values and priorities. It's about making sure that your daily actions reflect what you want out of life, not what other people want from you. One of the most powerful aspects of taking control of your time is that it gives you a sense of purpose. When you use your time intentionally, you begin to feel a deeper connection to your goals. You realize that your time is limited, so you begin to make every moment count. You start to feel the momentum of your efforts building. You see how the small, purposeful actions you take every day add up to something bigger. When you use your time with purpose, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter, and you start investing it in the things that will change your life. In the end, time is the one thing you can't control, but you can control how you use it. You can choose how you spend your days, how you allocate your energy, and what you prioritize. Taking control of your time is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about eliminating distractions, staying focused, and making sure that your time is being used for something meaningful. Time is the currency of life. Don't waste it. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Take control and use it to create the life you want. Number 9. Build better habits and protect your mental strength. Building better habits is the key to unlocking a life filled with purpose, progress, and mental strength. Your habits shape who you are and determine where you're headed. If you want to achieve something significant, you must focus on developing habits that will support your goals and protect your mental strength along the way. Mental strength is not something that happens by accident. It is built, it is earned, and it is protected by the habits you form each day. Habits are the invisible forces that control your life. They dictate how you spend your time, how you react to situations, and how you approach the challenges in front of you. The more positive, productive habits you have, the easier it becomes to move forward and reach your goals. On the flip side, bad habits can drag you down and hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. So how do you build better habits that will protect your mental strength? It starts with being intentional about the habits you choose to create. You have to be purposeful and deliberate. Instead of letting your habits form by accident, take control and decide what kind of habits you want to develop. Do you want to be more focused, more disciplined, healthier, more organized? The power is in your hands. But before you start building new habits, it's important to examine the habits you currently have. Take a moment to reflect on your daily routine. What are your habits like?
Do they serve your goals, or do they hold you back? Are they habits that promote your mental health and strength, or do they drain you? Be honest with yourself. It's easy to fall into patterns of behavior that seem harmless, but over time, these small habits can add up to something that holds you back from your true potential. If you want to protect your mental strength, you need to be willing to cut out the habits that no longer serve you. The first step in building better habits is awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Once you identify the habits that are not helping you grow, you need to take action to replace them with habits that will move you in the right direction. This process doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, consistency, and patience. You won't be able to change everything at once, but each small step forward will lead to big changes over time. A great place to start is with your daily routine. Your daily habits set the tone for your entire day. If you start your day with chaos, stress, or negativity, it's going to be much harder to build the mental strength you need to stay focused and disciplined throughout the day. Start your day with intention. Set yourself up for success by creating a morning routine that supports your mental well-being. This could mean waking up early, meditating, exercising, reading, or simply taking a few quiet moments to set your intentions for the day. Whatever you choose, make sure that your morning routine is designed to prepare your mind for a productive, positive day. Building better habits requires commitment. It's easy to start something, but the real test is whether you can stick with it. The key to making habits stick is consistency. Don't expect to change everything all at once. Focus on making small changes each day. Even a small improvement done consistently will have a massive impact over time. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your productivity, or build your mental strength, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Consistency is what will eventually turn your actions into automatic behaviors. Another critical aspect of building better habits is making them enjoyable. If you dread the habits you're trying to form, they won't stick. Find ways to make your new habits something you look forward to. This could mean adding an element of fun or excitement, or simply making the process more enjoyable. For example, if you're trying to exercise more, find an activity that you love to do, rather than forcing yourself to do something you hate. If you want to read more, pick up books that inspire and motivate you, not just books that feel like a chore. When your habits are aligned with what you enjoy, they're easier to stick to, and they become part of who you are. It's also important to protect your mental strength by managing your environment. Your surroundings play a huge role in your habits. If you want to protect your mental strength, you need to set yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports the habits you want to form. This could mean removing distractions, eliminating temptations, or simply making it easier for you to stay focused on your goals. If you're trying to read more, for example, keep a book in your bag so it's always available when you have a few spare minutes. If you're trying to eat healthier, make sure your kitchen is stocked with nutritious foods, and remove the junk that might derail your progress. The environment you create will support the habits you're trying to build, or it will make it harder for you to stay on track. Building mental strength requires you to also develop a strong sense of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your emotions, behaviors, and actions, even in the face of temptation. It's about staying focused on your long-term goals, even when it's difficult. Building self-discipline comes from making choices that align with your values and purpose. It's about resisting the easy way out and choosing the harder, more rewarding path. Every time you make a disciplined choice, you're strengthening your mental muscle. Over time, these small moments of discipline will build your mental strength and willpower. Another important habit that helps protect your mental strength is practicing gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in the stress of life and forget what's truly important. But when you take a moment each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for, you begin to shift your mindset. Gratitude has the power to improve your mental health, reduce stress, and increase your overall sense of well-being. It's a simple habit that can make a world of difference in how you approach your day. Whether you write in a gratitude journal, say a prayer, or simply pause for a few moments to reflect, practicing gratitude is a powerful tool in building better habits and protecting your mental strength. Finally, remember that building better habits is a lifelong journey. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you slip up or lose focus. But that doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've learned something, and you can get back on track. The key is to stay committed, to keep improving, and to keep moving forward. Your habits will shape your future, and the more you invest in positive habits, the more mental strength you'll build. It's all about making small, consistent choices that add up over time.
So start today. Build those habits, protect your mental strength, and create a life that aligns with your goals. You have the power to shape your future, one habit at a time.
Number 10, raise your standards and never settle for average. If you want to achieve something extraordinary in life, you must first raise your standards. Settling for average is the easiest thing to do, but it's also the most limiting. Average is where most people stay because it requires no effort, no commitment, and no real ambition. But if you want more, if you want to truly transform your life, you must refuse to settle. You must demand more from yourself and raise your standards to a level that forces you to grow, to strive, and to reach your fullest potential. Raising your standards begins with a simple but powerful realization. You are capable of more than you think. Too many people settle into their routines, their comfort zones, and their limitations without ever challenging themselves to do better. They accept mediocrity as the norm, believing that they can't achieve more or that more isn't possible for them. This belief is a lie. You have the potential to do great things, but it starts with how you view yourself and what you're willing to accept. If you continue to settle for less than you deserve, you'll never unlock the greatness that lies within you. The first step to raising your standards is to become clear about what you want. If you want to live a life that's full of purpose, success, and fulfillment, you must get clear on your vision. What does success look like for you? What kind of life do you want to build? Once you have a clear picture of what you want, you can start setting the standards that will get you there. Your standards are the expectations you set for yourself in every area of your life, your career, your health, your relationships, your mindset, and your personal growth. What you accept as your normal will define your reality. Most people never achieve their dreams because they don't set high enough standards. They set goals that are too small, too safe, and too easy to achieve. They choose goals that won't require them to stretch, to push themselves, or to grow. But the truth is, true success comes from stretching beyond your comfort zone, from challenging yourself to do what you thought was impossible. When you raise your standards, you stop playing it safe. You start setting goals that force you to evolve, to grow, and to take action. It's not about being perfect. It's about taking bold steps toward what you want, regardless of how difficult or uncomfortable it may be. Raising your standards requires a shift in mindset. You must believe that you deserve better than average. You must refuse to accept mediocrity in your life and demand more from yourself every day. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. The standard you set for yourself should be a reflection of your potential, not your current circumstances. Don't base your standards on where you are today. Base them on where you want to go, on who you want to become. When you raise your standards, you stop tolerating things that don't align with your goals. This means saying no to distractions, saying no to toxic relationships, and saying no to anything that doesn't help you move forward. Too often, people tolerate things in their lives that drain their energy or hold them back, simply because they've accepted those things as part of their reality. But if you want more, you have to be willing to let go of the things that are keeping you stuck. Raise your standards for the people you surround yourself with. Raise your standards for the work you do. Raise your standards for the way you treat your body, your mind, and your soul. Your standards will dictate the way you approach challenges. When you raise your standards, you begin to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, rather than as roadblocks that stop you in your tracks. You start to develop resilience, determination, and the mental toughness needed to push through even the most difficult times. You begin to believe that you are capable of overcoming any challenge that comes your way, because you refuse to settle for anything less than your best. Raising your standards also means holding yourself accountable. No one can raise your standards for you. It's a personal choice. It's about taking full responsibility for your life and your results. When you raise your standards, you become the person who takes ownership of your actions, your decisions, and your future. You don't wait for someone else to motivate you or push you. You take charge of your own growth. You recognize that the only person who can hold you back is you. You can choose to raise your standards today, and in doing so, you choose to take control of your destiny. Another key aspect of raising your standards is surrounding yourself with people who hold you to a higher level. If you want to raise your standards, you need to be around people who push you to be better, who challenge you to grow, and who expect more from you than you might expect from yourself.
Your environment plays a massive role in shaping your behavior and mindset. If you're constantly around people who are content with average, who accept mediocrity, or who are complacent with their lives, it will be much harder for you to break free from that mindset. But when you surround yourself with high achievers, with people who are always striving for greatness, you begin to raise your own standards naturally. Their energy, ambition, and drive will inspire you to do more, be more, and expect more. As you raise your standards, you will begin to notice that your results will start to shift. When you demand more from yourself, you start showing up differently. You show up with more focus, more energy, and more commitment to your goals. You start making better decisions, taking better actions, and creating better outcomes. You begin to understand that the results you get in life are a reflection of the standards you set for yourself. The higher your standards, the higher your results. It's important to understand that raising your standards is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. It requires constant effort, dedication, and consistency. You will face setbacks along the way, and there will be times when you feel tempted to lower your standards or settle for less than you deserve. But when you raise your standards, you commit to never giving in to mediocrity, no matter how challenging the journey may be. As you continue on your journey, remember that raising your standards is the key to unlocking a life of success and fulfillment. You were not made to settle for average. You were made to do extraordinary things. By raising your standards, you are giving yourself the opportunity to live a life that reflects your true potential, to accomplish things that others only dream of, and to become the person you were always meant to be. Your standards determine your life. Raise them, and everything else will follow.